How's it going, everyone? This is Eddie with Joe's Gaming and Electronics. Today I'll be showing you guys how to replace the charger port on your Nintendo Switch. To get started, we only need a couple tools and of course the part itself, the charger port. And for the tools, I'll be using this kit right here. We do sell this on our website. I think it's a really great tool. It has the screwdriver, and you have all the bits you'll need for like just about any repair, really. I use this on a daily basis, whether I'm repairing switches or headphones, Fitbits, whatever it is. It's really great to have around the house, just to, you know, if you ever need to tinker at something, you have it all. And they give you this nice pair of tweezers here, which is, I mean, come on. Can't not like that, you know what I'm saying? But this is what I'll be using. We'll be using the middle size Y screwdriver bit, and we will be using a Phillips 00, PH00. And we'll grab a flathead, any size really. I'll use that medium one right there. So to get started, put on our the Y screwdriver bit. This is the Y 2.0, and we'll take out these 4 screws. Sometimes you gotta give a little pressure on these because these go straight into the plastic, so they could be pretty tight in there. So just push down and it'll give you a better grip on the screw to take it out. Put those to the side, and I recommend, just for to be able to kind of keep track of everything, you place your screws like the same way you take them out to the side, so that when you're putting it all back together, it's kind of easier to, it'll be like visual control, right? Just for ease of remembrance. But I'll also walk you guys through what goes where when you're putting things back, just so, you know, I'm here to help. So we'll go ahead and toss on that Phillips, and we'll go ahead and start with these 2 screws on the bottom, and there will be one of these on the top, and these are non-magnetic, and I'll get to why I mentioned that they're non-magnetic towards reassembly. And then just that one on top. Very nice. Hope you guys' days are going well today. Mine's going pretty good. Day after the 4th. Hopefully you guys all had a phenomenal 4th. Stayed safe. I know that was my 4th of July one year. But hey, I'm back here making videos and showing you guys how to do some sick nasty repairs. So we pop this cover off. There's under that stand, there's one Phillips. $50,000 likes, and I'll make a video saying the story of this. Then you're gonna have a screw in the middle. You're gonna have 5 screws on the side. Just remove the middle one on both sides, so the 3rd one counting from either direction. The rest you could leave in, because only the middle one will be holding in that back cover. So take those 2 middle screws out, and we could go ahead, and I like to pop this card, the game card cover open, and then from the bottom kind of pry up lightly. Be very gentle with this, and you're gonna have a couple clips right here along this edge, so just carefully kind of pry it, pop those clips up, just carefully work it. You don't want to force anything because you could easily snap the little tabs you have here. So I mean, if it takes a little while, so be it. Better it take a little bit longer and you not break it than you break it, right? Because we just want to be replacing a charger port, and you want to be careful because of all these tabs, right? Because they're very fragile. I've seen people break these plenty of times. So now we could go ahead and just remove all the silver screws we see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right there. You know, while I have your guys' attention here, I'm looking for new music. I don't know, it's kind of, I don't know about you guys how it works for you, but I kind of go through my stages, right? Of like, I bop to like enough songs to where I'm like, man, I need something new. And I'm really open to anything. So if you guys could leave me some suggestions in the comments below. And I'm not saying that just to get you guys to comment. I genuinely, like, what better people to ask than someone watching a repair video, right? The choices, like people's options of what they listen to are gonna be so like different that I think you guys are the best people to ask. So if you could, like, there's like a song or an artist you just vibe with, leave a comment below. I'd love to hear from you, and we reply to all our comments. So if we, you know, if we like it, we'll let you know. So I'd appreciate that. Now go ahead, pop this SD card up, just a little clip there, and go ahead and pull this metal shield off. Now, first thing I like to do is grab like a Phillips. Oh, it went flying. And then I just get under that white part of the clip in between the black, and then just pry the battery up, just so we make sure that the whole system is powered down, just for safekeeping. And now we can go ahead and pop our Phillips back on, and we'll go ahead and remove these three holding the heatsink down. Sorry. If you guys need any parts or tools that you see me using, links for all those will be in the video description below. So if you have any questions regarding the repair of like anything from this point onward or before this, leave a comment below. We do reply to all you guys, or give us a call if you really want some help. Or here, we could just flip that over and it'll help get the screws out. Now we could go ahead and remove these two, and I already removed that. So yeah, any questions, feel free to leave a comment or give us a call, or if you don't feel comfortable doing this repair, send it in. We'll gladly take care of you. So now what we could do is pop this clip on this ribbon and then pull that ribbon out, and we could go ahead and grab our little pry tool. I like to use a plastic just so I don't damage anything. Hop under this clip and just give it a little pry up. We could pop this up and out and move that to the side. Now we could go ahead and unscrew this screw right here, holding that fan in, kind of at an angle, and then these other two. And I usually just keep the fan and heatsink as like one piece. And what I do is I carefully get under the heatsink here and pull up, and then careful, don't pull out all the way yet. Just kind of go up, out, and then there's going to be a ribbon here you disconnect and it'll slide right out. Put that to the side. Now we could go ahead and remove these two silver screws holding that charger port in. All the silver screws on the switches are the same, so if you kind of mix up what silver ones went where, don't worry, they're all the same. So now we're just gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4 screws left that hold the board in. Very nice. You know, anyone could really do this repair if they put their mind to it. So I believe everyone watching this, you can do it. I believe in you. So now, go ahead and what I like to do for the two speakers is I get a flathead and I use the point of it, kind of get it, place it in the middle, and just pry out. You don't need to put too much pressure because you don't want to damage the plastic, but I found that's the easiest way to remove that. And for the rest, I just use a plastic pry tool, and I'll pop up the clips for the ribbons, and then just kind of pull those ribbons out using the little ears on the side of them. You can use your hands if you have that. Pop out the display one. This one could be pretty tight, so you could pry the board up, get you some leverage. Bam. 1, 2 more. And pry these open. I mean, you know what I'm saying. Sometimes you could grab some tweezers, give them a little pop, and then these 2 antennas, just pop into those ears and give them a pry up. There we go. And now we could just pry this board up at an angle and then pull it out backwards carefully. Place the that back cover with the whole assembly to the side. What we're gonna do is put this in a little vise. Any vise will work. I'm using this nice little bench vise that just kind of will hold this. And we're gonna need grab a soldering iron, and I'll be using a solder sucker. This is a Hako FR300. You don't need exactly this model. Just this is nice because this heats up as well, and it just makes the process a lot easier. And it'll just suck that solder out. So I'll show you guys how and why we use that. So what I like to do is, before I start sucking, there'll be this little coating of some sort of coating on the solder. So I just like to scrape that off, and then I'll add some, oh, apologize for the glare. How do I, yeah, on all 4 of these points, I'll add some solder. First I put some flux, just to help with the adherence, and then I'll grab my soldering iron. Put some tin on it, and just add some of the tin. We use sorry, let me get the brand for you guys. We use the Keister brand, and the reason I'm adding this is just because the solder we use compared to the factories has a lower melting point, so at a lower temperature it'll melt, so it just makes of easier removal, right? So once we added it on all of them, what I like to do now is from underneath I'll go ahead and use the soldering iron to from underneath heat up the point of where I'll be on top with the solder sucker, and on top, I'm sorry, frame here. On top, I will be up here, heating it up, and from the bottom, heating it from the bottom. Once it heats up, I'll suck, and it's kind of difficult to see, but it basically will suck all the solder out of the point, and you just do that on all 4 points, and then you'll have no solder holding the charger port in. So I'll go ahead and do that. I kind of need to do this on the edge of the table to really get to get under there. So, but that's the basic idea. You basically just suck, and it'll take all the solder out from there. And now afterwards, what you get is kind of tough to see, but if you could see out of all those points, there's no more solder holding it in, which will make it a lot easier to remove. So now I'll flip the board over, and light pressure, you don't need to crank this really. And what I do is I'll add some flux on the back here on all these pins. And what you got to remember when doing this is not only are there pins where you see out here, on the inside of the port where you don't see, there's also more pins. So just be careful when removing. You never want to force anything, because you could pull pads off the board, all the points of where those pins contact with, and then you'd have to get a new board, which is, you know, an expensive mistake. So just be very careful when doing this. flux's friend, as I like to say. So just add plenty of flux, and I'll get my heat gun, and I like to do it at 500 degrees, and the air out of 120 fan speed, I like to be at 85. There we go. Set it up. And so now basically what you do is you're just gonna heat everywhere. And if you see the plastic melting on the charger port, don't really be too worried about that because you are replacing this port. But just make sure you're always moving it back and forth so that you don't just overheat one spot. So I like to do the back here for roughly 30 to 45 seconds. And you'll feel the switch get loose and literally just pop right off with no force. I did not force the switch up, the charger port up at all. It literally just was loose and ready to pull up. And that's the beauty of why we use the solder sucker, to pull all that tin out from all these points, because then all we really needed to heat was these, as you can see, there's two sets of pins, one on the outside, which is the ones we saw right here, and then those pins on the inside. And basically what we did was we were able to heat those pins, and that was really all that was holding the charger port to the board. So that's kind of the beauty of the solder sucker. Now what I like to do is I'll grab some solder wick, and this will help with the to take away the old solder off these points. So I'll add some flux on those points, the 2 rows, and you place the copper onto the points, heat with your soldering iron, and you just slide this back and do that across all the points. There we go. And so now that you've went ahead and pulled all the old solder off of that, I like to just go ahead and clean that up. A Q-tip will work, or this microfiber towel, whatever you really have handy. And so now what I'll do is I'll go ahead and add a tiny bit of flux, not a tiny bit, but just a decent little drop, and then I'll add a tiny bit of tin onto my solder iron and just barely get some on the first row of points, not the second, just the first, since the one on the inside we won't be able to access once we put the new port on. So I like to just add a little bit of flux or tin on that, and so that's that. We'll grab our new port, open it from the packaging, upside down. So now what I like to do is, you see how all those pins, all those points are gold. So what I like to do is, if you'll probably already have residual tin on your soldering iron, so you just hold this down, the soldering iron down with something, and I like to just prime all the points with a little bit of tin. There we go. Oh. So now you'll see that all the points on this charger port have been they're silver now with that flux, or sorry, the tin. So now what I'll do is I'll add my flux onto both rows of the pins, and then we'll just place our charger port in place, and it should just pop right into place. And what I do is I'll add some flux on this point right here in the back, just that one point, and I'll go ahead and add some tin on my soldering iron. And what I do is I basically stake the charger port in place with this one point here. And I'll kind of have it out like that as well. As you can see what I did there on that back point, you see how the tin is just kind of sticking out. And I do that because when I go back with my heat gun to go ahead and secure that point in place, we have plenty of flux in there still, and I start heating this board, right? Keep going back and forth. I'll know that the points are heated beneath because I'll see that this flux kind of melts as well, right? So I'll keep going back and forth, and I'll slowly see that tin start to melt, and it'll seep through to the bottom and fill the hole in the bottom. That's kind of a nice visual, like good visual control of seeing that you indeed have heat the charger port enough to make a connection on those pins. So I like to do this for roughly 45 seconds, this whole process of heating. Kind of hold the charger port in place for a couple seconds just to ensure that the you'll see the solder kind of go to a more matte color, and you'll know that it's kind of set in place. And now I'll go ahead and flip the board over. Be careful, the board will be hot here, and you'll see how it kind of seeped through, and now it's kind of full right there. And I'll add flux to the other 3 points. And we'll go ahead and add tin to our iron. Apologize about the glare. I'll try to figure something out for the next video. And we'll just fill in all the points. Sweet, and now once we got all those done, we'll flip this back over. What I like to do is just go over all of them from the top, just to kind of make sure it really grabs onto it, and it'll hold the charger port in place. There we go. And this side should be plenty good. And now I'll take most of the tin off my soldering iron, add a light little bit, and I'll go back on the points back here and solder them down, kind of press down and pull out, just to make sure that they have like a good contact with the pads. All right. Bam. Easy there, buddy. And that's the changing the charger port. So now we just reassemble the whole deal. So what I like to do is I'll go ahead and carefully clean off the old thermal paste here. So once we got most of that thermal paste off, I'll use some rubbing alcohol on microfiber, and then just swipe the rest of that up. And then once that's clean, we put it to the side, and then we'll do the same thing to our heatsink here. Just clean it up, get most of that old stuff off. And again, once we have that one cleaned, we'll put that to the side, and we'll grab that board and grab our switch here, and we could go ahead and carefully making sure that we kind of get past all the ribbons here. so the ribbons are not hidden underneath. And what I like to do here is just kind of pull these ribbons out. Make sure that white little antenna's out, and then your last ribbon here, pull that into place. Bam. And so the first ribbon I like to put in is this display ribbon here, because you can kind of pry the board up at an angle and it'll give you more access to go ahead and put this clip in, because this is kind of a tricky one. So what I do is I'll basically explain before I do it. I'll pry up and then push this ribbon down and then push it in. Sometimes that one can be a little tricky, but you just be very careful with it, because it is very easy to damage that clip. You'll have some of the pins kind of drop down, and then you have to replace that the whole port there. So just be careful, take your time, don't force anything. It will slide in easily once you have it right. You just kind of mess with the angle you pick this up with, and just making sure that ribbon is flat, aligned with the make sure it's aligned straight from side to side of this thing, this port, and then just slide it in and it'll easily slide in. So now we go ahead and just clip the rest into place. Start with these antennas, line them up, and then just push down. Once we have all of those in, one last one actually almost escaped me. Now we'll go ahead and grab some thermal paste, add it to the middle here in about a pea-sized drop. That'll be good. Then we'll go ahead and open this clip, plug in the ribbon for the fan, and we'll go ahead and slide this back down, and we'll grab the 3 silver screws. Go ahead and secure them. I like to place all 3 in so I could kind of move the heat sink around, get all 3 started, and then crank them down the rest of the way just so I have some movement. Kind of line it up straight and then torque them down. You don't need to go crazy with the torque, just enough to where it kind of, you'll feel it bite and stop, and that's plenty. Now we can go ahead and screw that fan in. There's 1. There's 2. And that's a 3rd one. Now, before we go ahead and put this card in, what we're going to do is put the 4 screws that hold our board into place. Starting up here. And it'll be the 4 little black screws that we took out. She'll do that to you sometimes. that's that. And now we could go ahead and grab this card reader / AUX jack, slide that into place, pop it down. We'll go ahead, and I like to use my plastic pry tool here to kind of push this clip back, and then with my finger put it in place, and then kind of slide this in and push the inside into place. And now we'll go ahead and secure this, adding that little clip deal that we took off earlier and 2 silver screws. And torque it into place. And then we'll grab 1 more silver screw, and on the other spot of the card reader, we will torque that into place. Make sure that clip is open, and we could just slide this ribbon right into place, put that down. Now we'll grab 2 more silver screws and put it into the port there. Bam, we got that. Now we'll go ahead and grab the that metal shield we took off earlier. Plug in our battery. Put the shield on. And then put in the rest of the silver screws. Put all of them in except for that one there, just because that will be holding the SD card reader as well. Don't forget that middle screw. Now we'll go ahead and grab our SD card reader, and I'll just hold it at an angle here, and I'll grab my plastic pry tool, and once I line that clip up with its designated spot on the port, I'll just go ahead and press it in place. You'll kind of hear a little crunch. Line that up, and then put our last silver screw into place. Bam, nice. So now what we do is grab our back cover and just slightly slide it into place. It should close everywhere. And then here we have a couple clips that we just click into place. Bam, look at that. So now we'll go ahead and put that one small screw with the big washer type head into place. Doesn't take much force there to get it. And then we'll grab our 3 non-magnetic screws. And the trick to getting these in, because they'll keep falling out on you, is I'll put it on the screwdriver, hold it, so I'll just line it up like this with the screwdriver, hold it with my finger like so, flip the switch so that gravity is, working with me, and I'll just pop it in place and screw that in. And that's the easiest way I've found to put these non-magnetic screws in. So again, hold them with your finger, placing it in, gravity kind of holds it in place, and we can line it up straight and secure it the rest of the way. And now we'll do the same for the top. Just 1 screw up here, and bam, we're done with that. Now the 2 screws we took out from the joycon rails, the middle, screw those into place. Nice. And now we'll go ahead and switch our bit to the Y and grab our 4 Y screws. And I like to just place them into their designated holes. Go ahead and just screw them down. just like so. Bam, we're done. Just like that, you just replace the charger port on your Nintendo Switch. Pretty straightforward. Again, if you don't have the tools, because it does require a few more tools than a normal repair would, you could always send it into our repair center and we could do the repair for you. Or if you want, we do sell most of these tools, minus like the solder sucker. But you could just find that on eBay. They do actually sell just manual ones that don't heat up, but they do still suck the solder out of place. So you could attempt it with that. If you have any questions, leave a comment below or reach out. Our phone number is on our website, or just fill out a repair form, send it in. Or if you, again, do want to do the repairs, any parts or tools you saw me use, we do have links for all those below. Well, most of, again, minus the solder sucker. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, again, I'm sorry, I repeated myself, but I hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked, leave a like. If you didn't, tell us why, how we can improve. And hope you guys all have a phenomenal day.